In my opinion, one of the most interesting mysteries throughout the entirety of One Piece so far is who exactly is Dr. Vegapunk and why is he so intelligent? This is the man that is said to be 500 years ahead of the entirety of the rest of mankind, fishmankind. Basically, everyone in the world is behind Vegapunk. When this character was first introduced, I had an idea, a very niche idea, but an idea that popped into my head. I wouldn't say this is really a theory that I have, but it's more of a unique headcanon that I've had for the entirety of my read and watch through One Piece ever since Vegapunk's introduction. And I think that information that has been presented up to now kind of gives my headcanon some possibility. So hopefully you enjoy, and if you do, make sure to like, subscribe, and do all the YouTube spiel, you know. And with that, let's get into it. Before I really go into the theory, I do want to let you know that this thumbnail that I used does actually contain the actual person that I believe Vegapunk is based on and what Vegapunk will actually look like. It's not some just generic PNG that I found on the internet just to do kind of a clickbait thumbnail. This is the person that I truly believe Vegapunk will look like in the series. So just want to get that out of the way before anyone is like, but why did you use that? It'll be shown later in its full, the actual picture. So yeah. Now I can already assume what a lot of you are saying in your minds as you see this Vegapunk's true face in the thumbnail. How we don't even know his face. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know anything. Literally, there are only 2 pictures of Vegapunk in the entirety of One Piece. And one of them, he has no face. And the other one, he has this weird thing that looks like a nose and a mustache. What makes this even more confusing for a major demographic of One Piece is that this scene in the anime actually completely removes this nose and mustache kind of like distinguisher. So Vegapunk just looks like a normal generic scientist in the rest of the Punk Hazard Laboratory. So besides all of that, which is the all of that 2 things that we know about Vegapunk, somehow I actually thought of an idea of what this guy will actually look like. Now, what's most important is that we focus on not Vegapunk himself, but characters that often speak of and talk about Vegapunk. When I think about Vegapunk and his allegiances, I immediately think about, you know, the world government and the Marines, since those are his main benefactors and the people he develops weapons and science for. So, when I think about important Marines and important characters in the story, I think about 2 things. 1, whether they're based on a specific theme, or 2, whether they're based on a caricature of a specific person from Japanese media. Now, don't get me wrong, Oda has based many characters off of real people and really famous celebrities or songwriters or singers that do exist. This is not an uncommon thing. However, I just think it's a really strange trend that all of the Marine admirals have to be based off of a Japanese actor and or actress. This is because Oda was shown 2 false admiral designs that were in his SPS corner, and he actually implemented the 2 into the story as candidates for being admirals in the future. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, this concept of Oda using Japanese actors as important characters in the Marines is basically solely how I'm basing this theory on. However, I do have some more kind of neat details, especially in the last chapter of One Piece, that I think allow my theory to kind of stand out amongst all the other theories as to what Vegapunk could look like. I've seen many people in thumbnails picture him as a really old man that is very decrepit and has like very futuristic technology, while I believe that he is completely the opposite. I'd say Vegapunk is actually rather young. I haven't previously mentioned on this channel, but I am a massive fan of the Godzilla series. I absolutely have adored this series ever since I was, I'm pretty sure, 8 years old. I actually remember one of my neighbors was the one who would always watch the movies with me. He was also pretty young at this time, so we both got into it as we grew up together. And I remember when we would watch the movies, I always thought all the technology in it was a really fascinating concept, because obviously the giant monsters are really sick, but having all the technology to combat them is really cool as well. One of the most, I'd say, most cool, to put it bluntly, the most cool things in the Godzilla series was the device called the Maser Cannon, which is this ability that allows the humans to actually somehow damage the monsters on a relatively strong level. This is so impactful because throughout the entire, I'd say, first few movies, they are completely defenseless against the monsters since they just use normal warfare like tanks and planes and cannons, which are absolutely just futile against the monsters. However, the Maser Cannon in the Godzilla series is just this immense force of power. Now, what had me absolutely kind of fanning out and geeking out in chapter 1013, which I didn't mention in my first review because I wanted to keep it to the chapter, was the fact that Big Mom's fusion homie attack was called the Maser Cannon. And oh my god, when I first read that page, I was literally like smiling ear to ear. So Big Mom's attack being called the Maser Cannon further cements a connection between One Piece and Godzilla. So with these 3 points together, the main figures in the Marines looking like Japanese famous actors, Big Mom's attack being called the Maser Cannon, and the concept that Vegapunk is the smartest man in the world, I believe that Vegapunk will look like, pause for dramatic effect, Dr. Serizawa from the original Godzilla film. Now, why? Why do I believe that Vegapunk will look like this person? Let me tell you. Throughout most of Dr. Vegapunk's portrayal in the story, we could tell that he actually has a strong sense of compassion towards a lot of people, unlike Caesar Clown, his subordinate. While he is working for the Marines and therefore the world government, he is using the Marines to make the Special Science Group, which would be better not just for the Marines to better themselves, but for the entire world, because this is for the beneficiary of science itself. Vegapunk has also been shown to be compassionate after the events of Punk Hazard, which is where he was first shown to stop Caesar, but at the end of the arc, it is shown that Tashigi and Smoker are taking all the kids that Caesar had as basically slaves and guinea pigs to cure them of their addiction. Vegapunk's strongest connection in the Marines so far is also Fujitora, who has been depicted as having the strongest sense of true justice in the entirety of the Marines themselves. At the same time, though, let me discuss the characteristics of the character Dr. Serizawa, since he is the, what I believe, inspiration for Dr. Vegapunk. In the original film Gojira from 1954, Dr. Serizawa is seen as to disturb, to say the least. He believes that he has found this weapon that will be able to destroy Godzilla. However, he knows that if he was to release it to the world, that people may use this weapon to declare war on each other and kill millions. I believe that this characteristics of Serizawa will be implemented into Vegapunk's character in some way. However, to what extent, I'm not entirely sure. Serizawa is noble, and because of this, he did allow them to use the device he made to destroy Godzilla, only on the off chance that he would be able to burn all of his records and ensure that no one else would get it. He went to the depths of literally killing himself along with the device that would kill Godzilla to ensure that no one would ever get the technology to recreate it. I believe that this is the ultimate sign of compassion that Serizawa has shown throughout the entire film, and this compassion fits with the compassion that Vegapunk has been depicted with having. But enough about the character of Dr. Serizawa. Something that's also equally as important is the actor that portrays him. Another important aspect of Oda's references in the Admirals is the fact that not just are these Japanese actors, but they are Japanese actors around the time that Oda was a child. All of the actors that are shown are actors that would have been insanely popular in Japan at the time that Oda was a child. So all these people that he kind of gives caricatures in One Piece are shown as these above the world important people, similar to celebrities in our world. The specific connection that ties all of these caricatures together is that all of these actors and even the Admiral actress that was based on the SBS one were all active actors and actresses during the 1950s to the 1970s, with Aokiji's inspiration being the newest. Serizawa's acting inspiration, the actor Akihiko Hirata, was literally active during the years 1953 to 1984, which is the prime demographic that all of the characters that Oda has possesses. Hirata was also shown to be in literally over 100 films during his acting career, with having many films active at the same time as each other. And I'm not gonna lie, this is going to be the laziest point in the entire video, but almost all of the scenes where Serizawa has something deep and or meaningful to say about society at the time in the original Godzilla film, he is wearing the gloves. But I saved my most interesting point for the end of the video because both these characters have a very strong connection to children within both of their stories. Dr. Vegapunk's entire goal for the rest of the part for Tuskegee and Smoker is to save these children from Caesar's kind of abuse. And Serizawa only gets the inspiration to allow the government to use the weapon he's created to stop Godzilla after he sees many children singing about missing their family members after their deaths. So with all of that information, that is why I believe Vegapunk will either be a caricature of Serizawa or the actor that portrayed him, Hirata. Now, I'm very curious what all of you think, because this is honestly the video I've wanted to make the most. Like, this is really weird because I feel like I've mentioned this and people are like, that's a really cool idea, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone else say this. So if you all think it's interesting, I'd love to know your thoughts. So yeah, that is my video on Vegapunk. Like I said earlier, I really wanted to make this, but my main worry was I feel like I didn't have enough information that connects One Piece to Godzilla at all. But the entire Mazer Cannon thing has completely allowed my mind to just burst out and be like, wow, it's actually possible, Kevin. You're not just a big fan of the series. So yeah, that's the video. I really hope Toho doesn't just copyright strike me into the ground, because I was avoiding using all videos and just photos. So I'm praying I'm good. Really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share it around because I want people to know about this theory a lot. Thanks for watching and have a good one.